So this is a short video to show you how you can publish SOAP web services into Tyk's Developer Portal. So I'm going to actually start by publishing a RESTful service described by Swagger, and then we'll move on and have a look at what publishing a SOAP service into the Developer Portal could look like. So right now I'm logged into the Tyk dashboard, and this is the control plane from which you would manage, control, configure APIs that get reverse proxied on a Tyk gateway. I should mention at this point that the API that gets published into the dashboard is not the same thing as what gets published into the portal catalog. The API that we publish into the portal catalog is actually, it's more akin to an API product, so it could in fact be a whole collection of APIs that are actually represented inside a Tyk security policy, but we'll get to that shortly. So if we start with REST, I've got an existing API already published in the dashboard here. I also have a policy, and within that policy we've configured the API that we just took a quick look at, as well as I've just left all of this as default, but the policy also allows you to set rate limits and throttling controls and usage quotas. So that's all set up. Right now in the Tyk portal, if we look at the catalog, currently we have published nothing. So let's go ahead and first of all publish that RESTful service. And so if I come into portal management, catalog, I provide a public API name. As I said, actually what we publish here is more akin to an API product, so it could in fact be a collection of APIs, but what we're doing here is publishing a single API just to keep things simple. So I select a policy within which we defined which APIs were available, give it a description, a little bit more, and then down the bottom here we can attach documentation, and as it actually states here, we've got three options when publishing documentation. We can use Swagger or OpenAPI spec, we can use API blueprint, or we can use the portal CMS. I've got a Swagger definition, so that's what I'm going to provide. So let me just copy that. So here we are. And then let's just paste that straight in. And so if I now save that and head over to the portal, we should see that we now have an entry in the catalog. As a app developer, I can request an API key from the portal to access this API, and I can view the documentation that's been generated. So we're using standard Swagger UI here. All the usual stuff allows you to view all the operations and try out those operations if you so wish. So that's a RESTful service. Now, since we don't have an option here to automatically attach a WSDL for a SOAP service, what we're going to do is we're going to make use of the Tyk CMS that's part of the product. So I'm going to use this banking web service. I'll take that WSDL, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to convert it to HTML using the utility here, WSDL to HTML in this GitHub repo. WSDL to HTML can be run as Docker, so I've already built my image. This is what I'm going to do. And then we'll take that HTML and we'll load it into the Tyk portal using the CMS. And actually, to customize the portal, you've got various options. So certainly for on-premise customers, or those customers that have a license that allows them to manage Tyk themselves, be it in their own data centers or their own private cloud, wherever it might be, those customers get access to all of the HTML templates, all of the CSS files that ship with the product, so they really can do deep customization. And then we've got some facilities within the dashboard itself to do things like add new menus and add new pages. And what we're actually going to do is add a new page. But first of all, let's actually, as we showed for the RESTful API, we actually need to publish the API first of all into the dashboard. And once we've done that, then we'll look to publish it into the portal. So I can import API and I can say from WSDL, and then I just need to copy some values from my WSDL. So actually let me grab this. I've just copied that WSDL into a text document. We'll paste that into start. And then we need the service endpoint, which can be found in the WSDL again. So we'll copy that, pop that in there, and then we also need a service name and a port. So the service name is Total Assets Service, and the port name is Application. So pop those in, and there we go. So that API, that SOAP service, is now published in the Tyk dashboard and is available to reverse proxy on a Tyk gateway. And if I just scroll down to the bottom here, so right now this service is configured to be open, so we don't require any kind of authentication token. I'm just going to update that to require what we call authentication token, which is basically an API key. And we'll update that. Perfect. Right, so next I'm going to head over to security policies, and in the same way that we defined a security policy for the RESTful API, let's just go ahead and configure a policy for our SOAP service. So first of all, we need to add API access rights, and in this policy I'm just going to provide the service that we just created. And as I mentioned at the top of this demo, what we actually publish into the portal is really more akin to an API product, so this could in fact be a collection of APIs, but let's keep it simple and just publish the one. I'll leave all the rate limits and throttling controls and usage quota as default. I just need to provide a name. So let's just call it Total Assets Policy, and then we'll say that any keys created that make use of this policy will never expire. So we've got a service, we've got a policy, we now need to add this to the portal catalog. And we do that by coming to Portal Management, Catalog, Add New API. So we'll call this Total Assets SOAP Service. Select the policy that we just created, a simple demo SOAP service. So this can be text, it can contain markdown. Actually, why don't we just copy in the WSDL? It's not going to look very pretty, but let's pop that in there. And we don't have Swagger, we don't have Blueprint for this, so we'll just save it as is. And then if I come back to the portal and refresh it, and we can see the service has been published, it's protected with auth token, I can request an API key, and we've got the WSDL in there as well. And it's really not helping anybody in terms of providing usage instructions to the consumers that use the portal to help them get up to speed quickly. So we've got a little bit more work to do. So I mentioned the WSDL to HTML utility. What we need to do is take that WSDL and generate HTML from it. So just head over to my command line. I've already built my Docker image, so I just need to run this and provide the URL of the WSDL we were just looking at. So let's run that. And then if we cd into the HTML directory, we should find, and we can have a look at the HTML that we've just generated. And so we'll come back to this shortly. What we're going to do is we're going to take this HTML and load it into the portal CMS. But before we do that, I should also mention, so I'm running the Tyk stack as Docker. We've got this Docker Pro demo that makes it really quick and easy to get up and running with Tyk. If you're running evaluations or POCs, it's a really great way to get something installed and be up and running in minutes. Because I'm running in Docker, I'm going to need to access, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify some of the HTML templates that we shipped with, and since it's in Docker, what I'm going to do is rather than going into the container and changing the files directly, what I've done is I've mapped a Docker bind mount, which means that I can manipulate the files on my host system, and then my host directory, which is actually under this portal customization directory here, will get mapped to the appropriate folders inside the Docker container. In fact, let's just have a look at my compose file, and so these are the two lines that we need. So I've got a directory called portal customizations, and within that I've got folders called templates and CSS, and I've created bind mounts into the actual directories that exist in those Docker containers. And actually, if I cd into my portal customizations templates directory, and what we see is /templates, and what we've got is all of the various HTML templates that are available for us to go ahead and modify as per our needs. So the portal vanilla install looks something like this. You can completely change the look and feel of this. All I'm going to do in this case is, and I've already done it, so we ship with a number of HTML templates, one of which is a template called page. And so I've just taken a copy of this, I've just stripped it back a little bit, and that's what we're going to use. And so I've called it andy.html. In fact, let me open this in a text editor. I think I've already got it open. Yeah, there we go. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to substitute in values. The only thing that's really of interest in here is this tag here. So what we can do is within our HTML template, we can define fields. And I've got a field here called main body. And so what this means is that I can go to my Tyk dashboard, I can create a page using the CMS, and I can substitute in content into each of the fields that I define in this template. So in this instance, there's just the one field. We just need to provide a value for this field that I've called main body. And the page is called Andy page, which we'll also need as well. So if I head back to the dashboard, and then if we scroll down to the portal management section and into pages, right now I've just got a home page, so let's go ahead and add a page for our SOAP service. So I'll call it total assets, give it a slug, and this is basically the path that it's going to be available on in the portal. And then define a page type. So we ship with default homepage templates. The page template you saw, what we're actually going to do is make use of a custom template. And that custom template, I think I called Andy page. Yeah, so let's grab that. Andy page, and the field name was main body. And so what we need to do now is provide a value for that main body. And so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the contents within our HTML body tag and substitute that in. And save. And so now if I head over to the portal and try and hit total assets, and we'll see now we've taken that HTML that was generated using the WSDL to HTML utility, and we've uploaded that into the portal using the CMS. Okay, that's all cool. One last thing to do. So what I want to do is I want to link to this from my API catalog. So if I go back to the dashboard and portal catalog, let's open up our service. Let's get rid of that WSDL that we hard coded, and let's give the name of the service, and then let's just copy that path, hit update. So now if I go back to the catalog, I've got my service within the catalog, and I've got a link to the documentation that we've just uploaded using the CMS.